Hey guys, welcome to With Influence. My name is Whitney Madueke, and this is where I share everything on being an influencer and content creator. Today is going to be exciting. We're going to be talking about how to work with brands, how to get brand deals, and I'm here to help you get there. The question that I usually get about being an influencer is really how to work with brands. How do they notice me? How does it work? And so today I'm going to be answering that question, how you can work with brands. And let me just start by saying anyone can work with brands with any amount of followers. Obviously, the more followers you have, the better, but you can definitely work with brands at whatever stage you're on. You just have to think about it and what way you'd like to work with brands and work on that. First thing that I'll say is you need to create content that resonates with your audience, but at the same time is still attractive to brands. Now, one thing you need to be doing is looking around your apartment, your office space, your life, and figuring out what brands do I really like and creating content around that product. Now, this depends on the type of influencer that you are, or the type of content creator that you are, or really the position you would like to be on to work with brands, because there are different ways you can work with brands. You can work with brands as an influencer, content creator, as a model, as an artist, even just someone that takes amazing shots of products. They could always hire you to do that for them, and they would use it in a campaign or even on their socials. So there are different angles to work with brands, but I think it's so important for you to figure out what is the way you'd like to work with brands and creating content that actually matches that. Now, one fantastic tip I would give you guys is if you have a brand in mind that you would love to work with, go on their Instagram page, look at the type of content that they actually post, and also look at the type of content that they repost. Now, it's so important because someone like me, I'm an influencer, and if you go to a brand's page, they obviously have the studio shots, the proper professional shots, and you can be scrolling through your favorite Instagram page, and before you know it, you spot me there, and you're like, oh, I like this post. Why did they post this picture of Whitney? What was so attractive about it? And you could find out that maybe the caption that I wrote spoke to the product, or even the picture itself is great quality and they liked the vibe or the energy. So it's so important to study the people that you admire, study the people that you like, and you see that their posts are usually reposted, because that kind of gives you a hint on the type of content that the brands actually like to repost. One thing I'll say is when you're creating for brands to attract those brands or for them to see you, think about the quality of the work that you're really putting out there. Think about tagging them, think about talking about the product, why you love it so much, and think about just creating organic content that doesn't even have to do with any brands in particular, just content that speaks to you, your person, and your audience. Because at the end of the day, if brands can see that you have an audience that really adores you or you connect with, they actually can figure out a way for them to work with you. They're looking at you like, oh wow, I love her skin tutorials, her skincare tutorials, her beauty tutorials, her cooking tutorials. I love how he does tech, how she does tech, how she expresses herself, how he expresses himself. And in a way, they're like, oh wow, this actually fits with our brand, with our brand values, our brand mission, and they think of you in the next campaign and they reach out to you. And so it's so important, like, you have to create content that matches who you are, your own personal brand, to the world, that actually connects with your audience and is nice for brands to look at and to reach out to you on. My second point is to post consistently with a range of different types of content. You want to think of product shots, maybe beauty shots, lifestyle shots, different angles that a brand can work with you. And when I say this, I'm not saying create content solely for the purpose of brands to reach out to you. No, I am saying diversify the type of content that you can actually deliver, so that when they go on your page, your Instagram, your YouTube, your TikTok, they have different options. They're like, oh wow, she's an amazing artist. Let's bring her on board to sketch some of our products that we can use on, like, let's say a gift card that we can give our own customers. So there's so many ways brands can work with you. So you always have to be there to deliver different types of content that is just attractive to them. And And when you're consistent, it reassures them of the type of person you are or the world that you want to be on. It's so easy for me to tell you guys I'm an influencer or I'm a content creator, and you know, maybe my last post was 8 months ago. Who's gonna reach out to me? No one. So you kind of need to post consistently so that they remember that, oh yeah, there's a Whitney Madueke in New York, we like her work, we saw it the other day, let's bring her on board this campaign. That's like the only way you can stay on the minds of these people. And you know, posting consistently builds that rapport, that engagement with your followers, with your audience, and that is also important because when a brand is reaching out to you, they're reaching out to you because you have an audience that is engaged with you. And you know, if they're reaching out to you just based on a skill, that's different. But when they're reaching out to you as a content creator or as an influencer, it's because they want you to position their products to your audience, to your followers. So these things are very important. When you post consistently, you build that engagement, that trust with your followers. And when you share different types of content, you're also building interest with your followers, as well as sharing with the world that yes, you know how to take amazing selfies, but you also know how to edit amazing videos. And these are sorts of things you want to do. When you think of your platform, think of it as a resume, as a CV of the different skills that you can do, and that is always fantastic. Now, one amazing way to work with brands is actually to join influencer sites or agencies. So there are platforms that actually connect influencers to brands, and so they're like the middleman. A brand approaches that platform like, hey, we have this product, we are looking for, you know, influencers in this fashion space, tech space, whatever space you're in. Please could you, you know, push that out to them? And you know, these agencies reach out to you, like let's say me, like, hey Whitney, this brand has this amazing product they would like you to work on, you know, these are what they're asking, this is the price, you know, all of that. And you know, that's where the negotiation comes in. Now, I don't want to mention these platforms solely because, you know, I feel like you should do your research to find what applies to you, and I really want to make a video on this because a lot of the times these platforms, they do take advantage of influencers. When you're in this position, it's really the agency that's like the middleman, and a lot can really happen when you don't have that transparency, because then they're the middleman. A brand can tell them one thing, you know, influencers telling them another thing, and you know, they figure out a way that actually benefits them more. But I feel like the best relationship to have is one where you're actually in direct contact with the brand. You know, like your favorite brand reaches out to you via email like, hey Whitney, we like your work, this is what we have, and you actually talk about it, you negotiate. Because a lot of the times, you know, these platforms, they're telling you, oh yeah, we want 3 YouTube videos, you know, 1 Instagram post, you know, and then 1 story, all for $50. What? What will you say? And that's why I don't want to mention them, because you know, with my experience, yes, they're a great way to work with brands, but you really have to be careful because you might actually be selling yourself short. When you're on these platforms, you know, they're selling you work, or at least they're giving this opportunity for work, but really you're actually doing more than you should be for the price. And that's very problematic because there are different ways these platforms use your content, and if you're not careful, you actually end up in a situation where, you know, they've underpaid you and they are overusing your content, maybe not even tagging you, you know. And there's really a lot that goes behind it, and I really want to dive deep into this in another video. I want to talk about this in another video in really good depth so you actually understand. So that's why I'm going to say do your research, but please be careful out there because these platforms really do take advantage of influencers. And you know, you even have situations where you can work with brands for free, so they give you a product for you to post. That's always great to build that relationship with the brand or to put yourself out there. But I think in the long run, when you're thinking about what the brand actually gets out of it, it's usually not fair. And so I really want to speak to this in another video because this is a huge conversation, and you know, I feel like it deserves that. So yes, you can join influencer sites, you can check them out, Google them. If you Google influencer platforms, influencer agencies, you will find a ton that you can join. But I just want to say, when you do join them, be careful so you're not taken advantage of. And yeah. My fourth point is to create in the field that you want to be in. It's so important to remember this. Remember, we've spoken about strategy, content, plan, consistency, the best time to post, all of this. It really comes together nicely when you think of what do I really want to be known for, and this helps you to align the content that you create. There's no point saying you want to be a food influencer, a food content creator, and your page is full of beauty tutorials, and then you're wondering why your favorite food stores haven't reached out to you. Like, your feed has to be a representation of what you want to deliver to these brands, the type of audience you want to attract. So create content in mind that create content in a way that keeps you aligned with the type of brands you want to work with. For me, I'm a beauty influencer amongst other things, and so primarily when you come on my feed, you see a lot of beauty, skincare, hair tutorials, and that's really my world, and that is primarily the types of brands I work with, and that is what you continuously want to be on. You want to create content in a way where, yes, it appeals to your audience, and it also attracts certain brands to you, so they remember, like, hey, we like Whitney's beauty tutorials, let's bring her on board this campaign that we have here. And that really works together nicely. That is how you get seen. Think of tagging these brands, you know, creating amazing captions that talks about the products, you know, really tagging them in your post. So it's so easy to say, oh, why didn't this brand reach out to me about this campaign that they just pushed out? But like, have they seen your work? Did you tag them? Are you using their hashtags? You really have to put yourself out there. Remember when I first started all of this in New York, you know, I just moved here, and so even though I was creating content for a while, obviously I want the brands in New York to know, like, there's a Whitney MADUEKE here. So I would always create content and I would tag these brands, use their hashtag, you know, use certain hashtags that actually appeal to the beauty industry as well. And this is what put me out there. Even simple things like putting your geolocation on your Instagram post, you know, these things really matter because you want people to remember that there's someone like you in this area, in this space, and the only way to do that is if you actually mention it. So create with that in mind. Create with the thought of attracting a beautiful audience as well as attracting brands so that they want to work with you. My final point is to focus on quality content. This is very, very important. Yes, there are different ways people work with brands, and yes, some people don't have amazing lighting and they still get brand deals, but you're thinking about yourself. We're not looking at other people. If you want to work with brands in a particular way, if you want to attract these brands to look at you, you have to be delivering content that actually matches your industry, or at least deliver something to a certain extent. And it doesn't have to be crazy, but I think it's so important that, you know, your videos are well lit, your pictures are nicely edited, you know, you look professional to work with, because at the end of the day, being an influencer is a job. If you're doing it full-time, and even if you're doing it part-time, if you want to build it into something reputable and you want brands to keep coming back to you, then you obviously have to be delivering quality content. Now, quality content is amazing because it also allows these brands to repost to you. You know, when you come to Whitney MADUEKE, you know, you're thinking of amazing quality content, good lighting, clear skin that you can actually see. By clear skin, I don't mean like not having flaws. I mean in terms of the quality of the picture, like you can actually see my face, my skin, you know. And when they think about that, they're like, oh, we'd like her to come on board. That way, if she's on this campaign and we like the picture she actually produces, we can post it on our end, and it saves us money. It helps us as well to push out this product. So there are different ways, you know, brands actually approach you, and the best thing to do is to provide quality content that they can also use, and you know, they can also repost, they can also share, obviously with your permission. Remember that. But it's so important that that quality content really does a lot to attracting brands and various different brands. I can create content that is aligned with a particular brand, but a different brand sees that content like, wow, this is what she did for this brand, we need her on board. So you're not just creating in a way where it's for this brand, you're creating in a way where other people see you and they are drawn to the content that you're creating. That is what keeps them coming back. That's what keeps followers to come back as well. So you want to think of what you're actually putting out there so that it attracts the right types of people that you want, right types of brands, clients that you're actually looking at. My final point on this is also to figure out new skills that you can actually learn, because when you think about new skills, new types of content, you're actually bringing new opportunities. If you're someone that primarily focused on pictures for Instagram, expanding to videos actually will help you get different types of campaigns, as well as if you're someone that is just on Instagram, expanding to YouTube will also help you. So you also have to think of different things. Even, you know, TikTok brings a different type of audience that is attractive to brands, so you're also thinking of expanding to another platform. So there's so many things that you actually have to do. I think primarily it's putting yourself out there, and it's okay to stay on one platform and to create one type of content. You don't have to expand, you don't have to create different types of content. If you're okay with pictures, that's great. You know, there are tons of people that only have pictures on their Instagram and they're doing just fine and they're growing and they're still getting brand deals. So it's just all up to you. Don't feel like you have to be everywhere doing everything. Do what's fun and comfortable for you, because at the end of the day, it's your lights that you're shining to the world, and that's what attracts different brands. For a quick recap, you want to create content that resonates with your audience and is still appealing to brands. You want to create quality content. You want to tag these brands in the content. You can also join influencers sites, and you want to create in a way that it aligns you with the field you want to be in. So if you want to be a food content creator or a food influencer, make sure you're creating content that aligns with that. So these are my tips to working with brands and getting brand deals. It definitely takes time. You know, you might be creating quality content and the brands are not flocking to you, but I think with that consistency and with time and patience, you actually get there. The goal behind your content shouldn't be to just attract brands. It should also be to expand your audience, to resonate with your audience, because really, if you have a good relationship with your audience, automatically to some extent the brands will come your way. It's just about patience, timing, and really just putting in that work and consistency. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. I hope you find it really helpful. Comment down below, let me know, are you looking to work with brands? What have you tried that actually worked? I would love to know. And make sure to check us out on Instagram at WHIT INFLUENCE. I do share more tips on there as well, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye. Yay. Okay, today's going well. New setup, everything looking cute, feeling myself. It's a good day. Are we liking this setup? I actually really like it. Let me know.